Does Rupert Grint have an ice cream truck? I do. It was my first car. I learned to drive in an ice cream truck. I always wanted one. It was my dream car. And it's great. I mean, the only problem is it only has one seat.
Rupert Grint's life and career have been defined by an unusual mix of extraordinary global fame and a quiet, almost hesitant relationship with the spotlight. Born August 24th, 1988 in Harlow, Essex, he grew up in a close-knit family as the oldest of 5 children. His early childhood was largely ordinary. He attended the local primary school, performed in school productions, and nurtured a fondness for acting through small amateur productions. Like millions around the world, he became a fan of J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter books soon after they were published. But unlike the vast majority of young fans, Rupert saw an opportunity in the open casting call for the film adaptation. He famously submitted an audition tape that included a rap about why he should be cast as Ron Weasley, displaying the mixture of humor and earnestness that would soon define one of cinema's most beloved characters. Rupert's journey.
It's hard to believe, but you celebrated the 20th anniversary of the first Harry Potter?
20 years, yeah.
20 years ago, and you're a baby.
Yeah.
When he was cast as Ron at age 11, Rupert's life changed permanently. Suddenly thrust into a multi-million-dollar franchise, he found himself sharing screen time with Daniel Radcliffe and Emma Watson, forming the trio that would come to define a generation of fantasy storytelling. Over the course of 8 films and 10 years, Rupert embodied Ron's loyalty, insecurity, humor, and emotional depth with remarkable consistency. While many young actors struggled under the weight of such visibility, Rupert often seemed to approach his fame with a gentle bewilderment. He was grateful for the opportunities, genuinely fond of his co-stars, and appreciative of the fanbase. But even during the height of the franchise, he expressed ambivalence about the idea of acting as a lifelong career. Throughout the Harry Potter years, Rupert received considerable praise for his comedic timing. Ron Weasley, often designated the series as comic relief, could have been reduced to one-dimensional humor in lesser hands. Instead, Rupert infused him with warmth and vulnerability. As the films progressed and the tone darkened, Rupert's ability to transition into more emotionally demanding material became more evident. His performance in the later films, particularly in scenes dealing with Ron's jealousy and insecurities, showed he was capable of more than simply delivering a well-timed punchline. He won multiple awards alongside the rest of the cast and came to be regarded not only as Ron Weasley, but as the embodiment of that character to millions of viewers. But the conclusion of Harry Potter marked a turning point that proved complicated for Rupert. Many actors who grow within a single franchise face the challenge of separating their identity from the character that made them famous. For Rupert, that challenge seemed to be even more profound. Ron wasn't simply a role he played, he was a character Rupert deeply related to. Their personalities overlapped, their sense of humor aligned, and Rupert's own shy, humble nature often resembled the Ron audiences believed they knew. As a result, when the Harry Potter films ended, he found himself not just typecast, but overshadowed by a character who had become inseparable from his public persona. After the franchise wrapped in 2011, Rupert attempted to diversify his roles. He appeared in smaller independent films like Cherry Bomb and Into the White, projects intended to showcase his range and distance him from his wizarding past. While he delivered respectable performances, these films received limited distribution and modest reception, failing to significantly boost his post-Potter visibility. He also participated in the dark comedy The Necessary Death of Charlie Countryman and made a brief foray into theater with a role in Mojo in London's West End. These choices demonstrated his willingness to explore different genres and his desire to challenge himself, but none provided the momentum one might expect from an actor who had just starred in one of the most successful film franchises in history. Part of the reason lies in Rupert's own ambivalence about fame. Unlike many actors who aggressively pursue roles, maintain a high public profile, or leverage industry connections, Rupert stepped back. He's frequently spoken about feeling uncertain about acting as a profession, admitting he sometimes wondered whether he simply stumbled into the career because of Harry Potter rather than out of a deep personal drive. This introspective attitude, combined with his naturally private nature, meant he never pushed himself into Hollywood's spotlight with the same determination as some of his co-stars. Instead of relocating to Los Angeles, auditioning relentlessly, or chasing blockbuster roles, Rupert remained in England, focusing on personal interests, family, and ventures outside of acting. One of his most publicized post-Potter side projects was his decision to purchase an ice cream truck and occasionally hand out ice creams for free. This act, both whimsical and deeply human, reinforced the perception that fame had not consumed him. He invested in property, started a small business venture, and chose to live a life largely out of the public eye. These decisions made him relatable and likable, but they also contributed to the impression that his acting career had stalled. Despite this, he did experience a notable resurgence when he joined the cast of the television series Servant, produced by M. Night Shyamalan. The show allowed him to explore darker, more psychologically complex material and demonstrated he had matured significantly as a performer. His character, Julian Pierce, is cynical, troubled, and deeply flawed, a drastic departure from Ron Weasley. Many critics praised his performance as one of the strongest of his career, the clearest proof that he had the talent to transcend his childhood role. Even so, Servant did not catapult him into widespread mainstream recognition. It was a critically appreciated series with a loyal but niche audience, not a cultural phenomenon. In the years following Harry Potter, Rupert's acting roles have been sporadic. While some of this can be attributed to selective decision-making or his preference for a quieter life, part of it also stems from the industry's hesitation to see him as anything other than Ron Weasley. Child actors often struggle to break free from their defining roles, but Rupert's connection to Ron seems particularly binding. Not only was the character immensely popular, but Rupert's natural personality aligns so closely with the traits audiences associate with Ron that casting directors sometimes perceived him as limited in range, even when his performances demonstrated otherwise. The irony is Rupert's talent is genuine, but typecasting can be a formidable obstacle. Throughout his adulthood, he's continued to express gratitude for his role in Harry Potter, acknowledging that the franchise altered his life in countless positive ways. But he's also admitted Ron Weasley can feel like a shadow he cannot fully escape. When fans see him, many still see the red-haired, wand-wielding best friend of Harry Potter, not the quieter, older, more introspective man he's become. For an actor, especially one seeking to redefine his professional identity, this can be both flattering and limiting. Rupert's personal life after Harry Potter has been far more grounded than many might expect. He became a father in 2020, welcoming a daughter with longtime partner Georgia Groom, and has spoken about how fatherhood reshaped his priorities. He's maintained strong friendships with his co-stars, but has not pursued the same level of public engagement or activism that others in the cast have taken on. He rarely seeks out celebrity events, award shows, or major interviews. Instead, he leans into a quieter existence. Ron or Rupert?
Every interview, I'm sure you're asked about Harry Potter.
I've never shied away from it. I'm proud to be a part of it. It was a huge part of my life. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that. And still, it's amazing that it's finding new forms as well, and people are still really enthusiastic about it.
Still, the reality remains Rupert is not receiving the volume or variety of roles one might expect from someone with his resume. Some observers argue that he's been overlooked because the industry simply cannot dissociate him from Ron. Others believe his own preferences, his reluctance to engage with Hollywood, his comfort in quiet living, and his uncertainty about the acting world are equally influential. Most likely it's a combination of both. His career has not stalled because of a lack of ability, but because of a complex interplay of personal choice and public perception. Today, Rupert continues to act selectively while embracing his life outside the industry. He occasionally expresses interest in future roles, but makes it clear he does not define himself solely through acting. He's achieved something many former child actors struggle with, a balanced, grounded life in the aftermath of intense early fame. But his legacy remains intertwined with the character who made him famous, a connection that's both a testament to his performance and a barrier to the wider recognition he could have achieved. Now it's time to hear from you. Do you think Rupert Grint should return to acting and explore a variety of roles like Daniel Radcliffe has? Let us know in the comments section below.